Hey, everybody, it's Title Adam. I'm in the house today. I'm coming to you from the beautiful studios at Premier Reputation Title in Lehigh Acres. That's right. And we've also got offices in Estero and Bonita Springs. So if you're buying, selling, building, refinancing, hey, if you're doing a deal in Florida, tag in Title Adam. I'm local and licensed. I can't wait to help. All of my information is up on the screen. We've got some news you can use and wanted to welcome you to our live stream. A lot of times we will do this and we'll record it and we'll go back and we'll labor over it in post and we will make adjustments and cut things out. But every once in a while, we do want to go live and want to engage with you and tell you what's happening right now. So I'm sure that there will be replays on this, but thanks again for joining us. Let's get my contact info off the screen and let's get going. Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association Market Stats Report. And this is from Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association Market Stats Report. Strong March sales and tightening inventory across Southwest Florida housing market. Fort Myers and Cape Coral, Florida. Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association reports that March 2026 housing market data reflects strong sales activity and tightening inventory across Southwest Florida, signaling continued market momentum. For the RPCRA single-family residential market, the median sold price was $359,790, down 4.1% from the previous month. The number of closed sales was 1,318, which was up 29.5% from February. The number of new listings at the end of March was 1,989, a decrease of 3.2% from the prior month. The median days on market was 48, down 14.3% compared to February. Inventory that's priced right is moving faster, and that's really great news. Finally, the month's supply of inventory decreased to 5.4, which is 27.8% lower compared to February. Now, think about that. That's talking about absorption rate. It means that if no new listings came on the market tomorrow, how many months would it take for us to deplete the current inventory? Now, they're saying that in March, that number went to 5.4 months. Now, historically, smart people have said, people smarter than me, have said that a absorption rate between 5 and 7 months is considered balanced. So I'll let you just do with that information what you will. Let's go to the condo townhouse market summary. This is again in Southwest Florida. For the RPCRA condo and townhouse market, the median sold price was $246,495. Down 3.8% from the previous month and down 6.9% from last March. The number of closed sales was 424, an increase of 15.8% from February, with median days on the market up 3.0% at 68. The number of new listings at the end of March was 664, an increase of 2.9% from prior month. Finally, the monthly supply of inventory decreased to 7.5, down 17.9% from February, and down 28.1% compared to March of 2025. So condos are moving, and the inventory is, I'm not ready to say that the condo inventory is tight. I don't care who you are and how you spin it. Condos are a challenge in Southwest Florida. Let me grab a water while we talk about that. By the way, if you haven't already connected with me, I'm going to throw my info up on the screen here. Take a minute and join me on the different social media networks that we're on. We're on Facebook, of course. We're on Instagram. We're on X. We're on YouTube. We're on TikTok Live. I think today we're just going Facebook and YouTube. Anyways, my cell phone number's up on the screen. You're welcome to call or text me anytime you have a deal that you're working. If you need any kind of information regarding title, if you need a quote, if you need any kind of advice, you can always reach out to me. You've got a friend in title in the state of Florida. I started looking through some of this data for the RPCRA market summary. And like I said, their job is to paint the picture, in my opinion. The job is not to make the story easier to digest. It is to simply give me the data. Let me make my decision as a homeowner, as a home buyer, as an investor. I don't need you to tell me all the cute words. I just want to see the data. And I'm looking at this data, and I'm happy to share this report with you. If you'd like, just send me a note, and I'll share this data with you. A lot of cool charts, a lot of numbers, some in green, some in red. What I thought was interesting in their summary, though, is that they say, okay, this includes Lee and Hendry counties, excluding Bonita Springs and Estero. And Bonita Springs and Estero is such a huge part of today's marketplace in the real estate community that I don't know why that is excluded, other than, Bonita Estero has their own board. So maybe this is just them not wanting to play ball. Anyhow, when I look and see with median home sales prices, we see that it's down about 4%, almost 5% year over year. We see that there's more closed sales today. There's fewer listings today than there was last year. There's more pending home sales by a lot. Pending home sales are up 31% year over year. It was a tough March of 2025. It was a tough March. The median days on the market, believe it or not, from this year to last has changed one day. It's gotten one day better. And that's crazy. When you consider, though, the month prior was 56 days on market. So here's what's happening. And this is my opinion, right? My opinion is that sellers, there's a segment of sellers that are starting to get realistic. They're starting to drop their price. And when they drop their price, they're going to get action. That's the way that it goes. You price it right. And if the condition is acceptable, that home will sell. And if you're not getting showings, if you're not getting offers, I'm going to make it real easy for you. You'll probably need to chop the price down. It's almost guaranteed if you're not getting action in today's market. When pending home sales are up, when days on the market is down and you're sitting there as the bridesmaid, you got to make a change. And history tells us that price and condition are the two things that can make a deal. But realistically, it's price. It's price. If your realtor's not willing to tell you that, I'll tell you just as somebody that's talking to you on the internet. Talked a little bit about price per square foot for that market area. You know, when we look back over the last year, it's dropped $12 a square foot. And that's a 5.4% change in price per square foot. I'm seeing it lower than that. I'm looking in specific in Lehigh Acres where I live, and I'm seeing price per square foot, you know, maybe tippy topping out there right now, but I'm seeing price per square foot start with a 1 in many cases. And I'm talking quality real estate, nice construction finishes, nice size lots, maybe even having, you know, newer roof, newer AC, newer mechanicals, whatever it might be. And then I see that the percent of the original price received is flat. It's at about 92.6%. Now, remember, as people start getting realistic on their price and they start dropping it, that original list price percentage is going to look pretty gross for the ones that, you know, started high and wanted to see what would happen. But if you had a real estate agent that was working with precision pricing methodology and that was really trying to get you dialed in, you should be getting back to the good old days. And the good old days would take you well above 95, 96% list to sell. And so when I see that number has a wide variance, it tells me that we have unrealistic sellers out there still. So right now, if you're in Southwest Florida in those markets I told you, excluding Bonita Springs and Estero, you should expect to get approximately 92.6% of your ask. And a good real estate agent is going to get you like 98% of your ask because they're going to price it right to move. Active inventory is down right now by 20%, and the month supply is down. So this was interesting because month over month, the real estate inventory supply went down by 28%. And so now we went from 7.2 months of inventory to 5.4. And listen, I'm nerding out on the data here a little bit, but what I'm telling you is that the market is active. The market is hot. The market, though, is adjusting. And they specifically split out condominiums in all of this data because the condo picture's not happy right now. What we found is that there's more sales year over year, but the prices are down. The prices are down. The median sales price of a condo right now in this market area is $246,500, and last year it was $265,000. But that said, we're up 13% in closed sales. New listings are down 17%, and a lot of that is people that are they're just discouraged and they're not ready to hang on the market. So it's kind of like when you look at unemployment numbers, they've actually just kind of checked out. They've signed out. Last year, we had a condo supply, an absorption rate of over 10 months, and now we're at 7.5 months. Now, what's interesting is we must have had a lot of deals close last month because we took out 18% of the inventory supply in 1 month in condos. And I think a lot of that, like I said, is people just deciding that they don't want to play. They don't want to do it. Single family homes right now, 48 days on the market. 48 days from the time that you list, you should expect to go under contract if you're priced competitively. Some people are going to go right away. Some people it's going to take a lot longer, but 48 days, and that is a month-over-month drop of 14%, and it is a year-over-year drop of 2%. So homes are starting to sell a little longer. The time that you're going to wait on market is going to maybe ease up a little. Let's throw the wrinkle in, all right? And thanks for hanging with me on the live stream. Let's throw a wrinkle in there, and that is that the traditional season is now drawing to a close. We've seen the car carriers on the road. I mean, people are going back up north. It doesn't mean that they won't continue to shop. It doesn't mean that they won't continue to transact business, but we may see that open houses are not quite banging like they were. You know, people have gone home, and so now they're doing that shopping from the couch at night. They're looking online. They're looking on Zillow. They're looking on Realtor.com. They're looking on their favorite realtor's website. So it looks like when I look at the days on the market, they went ahead and they broke it out by areas as well. And when I look at it for areas, obviously, single family homes are in some instances, in rare instances, sitting longer than condos. But for the most part, condos have their own challenges. Single family homes in Cape Coral going, the fastest right now, followed by Fort Myers Beach. Fort Myers Beach is absolutely on fire right now. That place is banging. Deals are going crazy out there on Fort Myers Beach. Lehigh Acres is doing okay. Lehigh Acres is running like 51 days on the market. And I got to tell you that there is a lot of development coming to Lehigh Acres. There's a lot of money coming in for infrastructure. There's a lot of money that's coming in for, there's a lot of money coming in to capture your money. There's a lot of people coming in and say, I want their wallet. And I don't want them to have to drive to Fort Myers for it. So as it happens, we're going to see Lehigh Acres is going to continue to be hot because it's the push into the swamp. It is the eastward bound sprawl. And it used to be, as I like to say, it used to be west of 41, then it was west of 75, and now it's west of what? The Atlantic? It's expensive. Price per square foot, we talked about that a little bit. Now, this is crazy because, in Sanibel, we're $550 a square foot. In Pine Island, we're over $300 a square foot. In Fort Myers Beach, we're, again, over $500 a square foot. So those are really areas that we're not as interested in actually taking a look at. I've got my Scout here. I'm looking to see if my Scout, if Jade's on with me watching. Okay, she says she's looking clear. We're just making sure that we've got eyes out there. Okay, so anyways, price per square foot. I'm just telling you, Fort Myers Beach is an anomaly. Cape Coral is running like right around just over $200 a square foot. Fort Myers is more like $225. Lehigh Acres is the spot right now. North Fort Myers and Lehigh Acres is a spot where you're going to be able to find real estate for under $200 a square foot in many instances. All right. So if you're on the water, if you're on acreage, throw those out for a second. Let's get down to the quarter to half acre properties out there that are built within the last 15 years and maybe not new construction. New construction is probably riding closer to that 220, but I see a lot of resales out there, some really nice ones, even in my neighborhood, that are under $200 a square foot. So continue to watch Lehigh Acres because I'm telling you, when it comes down to it, you need space, but we also live in Florida. This is the Sunshine State. So we should be setting ourselves up to where maybe we don't have the McMansion. We don't have snowstorms that we need to stay inside with our family all the time. We need to be out on foot. We need to be out hiking. We need to be biking. We need to be swimming. We need to be running. We need to be, soaking up the sunshine and really making the most of where we live. Because if you stay in a big house all the time in the air conditioning and never get outside, you might as well go to, insert city name in the middle of nowhere that you could go to and do that. We live in Southwest Florida, man. We've got the arts, we've got arts, we've got music, we've got shopping, we've got dining, we've got sports, we've got all kinds of cool stuff. And we've got, Hertz Arena here. So I think maybe a smaller home is a good way to go. That's just my personal opinion though. Because like I said, I like my space just like everybody else. But I think that, as more and more things arrive here in Lehigh Acres for us to spend our 5 to 9 time, so to speak, I think that maybe we'll find, maybe we don't need that extra bedroom. Maybe we can make it work. You go home after work. For me, I go home after work and I eat and chill out for a little bit, hang out. A lot of times I like to go out in the backyard if it's not raining. And then it's pretty much time to start winding it down, do your chores, whatever, and get ready for the next day to do it again. So that, I don't rarely can get through a movie at home without falling asleep, or, I don't really need a theater room. I don't really need a basement. I need a shed. I need a spot where I can set up my podcast equipment. But, I look at housing differently, and I'm on a ramble, so I'm sorry, but I look at housing a little bit differently now than I did maybe even 10 years ago. And so that's something. But hey, listen, I've got on a rant. I'm going to get back on it. But before I do, thanks for joining us on the live stream. It is live, so if I flub, it's whatever. And if you're not already hooked up with me, hit my link tree, hit my website, hit my cell phone, and let's go from there. My name is Adam, and I do title. They call me Title Adam. I'm the luckiest guy here. I live in Love and Lehigh Acres, but I serve all 67 counties of Florida. So if you're buying, selling, building, refinancing, or doing a deal, you can call me or text me direct, and I will help you. And I'll be very happy to do so. All right. I'm going to skip over Fort Myers Beach because they've got a lot of action out there, but I don't really do a ton of business out there. I want to talk. We're going to Lehigh. We're going to Lehigh Acres. And if you're a real estate agent and you're an RPCRA affiliate, or you're with that board, you should really be looking, because in May, I'm going to do a presentation to their education committee on Lehigh Acres. And it's designed to help real estate agents live, love, sell, and just do their best work in Lehigh Acres. We're going to talk about geographically how it's set up. We're going to talk about some of the early gimmicky marketing that put Lehigh Acres on the map. And we're going to go through different sections of town. We're going to talk about past, present, and future. And as you know, we've got some commercial development going on the south side of town that's going to kind of put a bow on everything into 2030 and beyond, and really set this town ablaze. All right. So I live downtown. I'm a downtown boy here in Lehigh Acres, and my office is actually just between Sunshine and Gunnery on Lee. I'm in Lee Boulevard Central, 3507 Lee. It's the spot to be. And if you want to jump in the house with me, come on in, because I got the mics on and I'm ready to go. You got to get past Juliet up at the front, though, if you want to get to me. She is an absolute rock star. And I do want to have her on here at some point, because what she's doing is she's cutting her teeth in the business. She's now through, a couple hundred deals. And she's working with me here in Lehigh as a licensed title insurance agent. I'm very proud of her. All right. Rant over. Let's go to Lehigh Acres region. This data is from Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association. This is regarding single-family homes. I'm going to tell you that year over year, the news is fantastic if you're a buyer. Last March, the median sales price in Lehigh Acres was $330,000. This March, it was $310,000. That's $20,000. Now, to give you, to put this all kind of framed for you, it goes like this. March 2025 was $330,000. February of 2026 was $315,000. March of 2026 was $310,000. So we're running about, year over year, about a 6.1% drop, improvement, maybe is the right word, in pricing in Lehigh Acres. We've got more closed sales to report this year than last. We've got less new listings, but it's relatively flat. The big deal is we've got more pending sales today in Lehigh Acres by a factor of 26%, and our median days on the market is floating there at 49. Okay? As we've seen prices adjust in Lehigh Acres, we've seen the median days on market adjust as well. And some of that is that as the prices were coming down, sellers were not getting realistic in tandem. And so what was happening is they'd have to sit an extra week this year to lock in that buyer. Now, the thing is, it's really great about Lehigh Acres is the fact that if you're a working man or woman, if you're a family, if you got kids or whatever, this is really the spot to be. Because I got news for a lot of people watching this, and I don't know where in the world you're watching it from. But let me tell you, as a single person trying to get into home ownership and needing over $300,000 to get into it is tough. And let's say that you had the 3%. Let's say you had $10,000 to get in to one of those homes. You're going to be able to qualify for the nut every month when you do your principal, your interest, your taxes, your insurance, your mortgage insurance, your HOA fees. It's tough, man. It's tough to get in. So Lehigh Acres represents kind of that spot where people could come. And I honestly believe that Hendry County's got the spot too. I honestly believe that there's going to be incredible deals in Hendry County coming up to the east of Lehigh Acres, okay? The problem out there is that we need people to go and build homes. We need new homes built out there for people to grab. And I think it's happening as we speak. I think it's happening as we're online right now. New opportunities are being created, which is absolutely fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, sellers in Lehigh Acres are averaging $197 per square foot. Last year it was $214. So we're down 8% in price per square foot. And that's the sold price per square foot. I remember seeing many builders. I remember seeing many builders last year really broaching that 250, 260 per square foot number. And I've seen them get real honest, real quick with themselves, drop that number down and reflect more. But I'll tell you, and I've said this before, just kind of going back on the rant, I've said this before, that your buddies at D.R. Horton, your buddies at Lennar, your buddies at, these production builders that are just absolutely slashing prices are killing the resales. They're killing the resales, man. I did one in Shadow Lakes, and it's not even fair. It's not even fair. I'm not going to dog anybody in particular, but let me just say that these big builders have the money to just slash the prices and make it work. And it puts a lot of pressure on that, that spec builder that's doing one or two houses. These guys know what they're doing. And they're kind of buoying that market, and they're deciding when they let something go. And then it kind of gets mixed in and all the numbers wash out. Anyhow, sellers right now are receiving 95% of what they're asking for. And last year they're getting 96% of what they've asked for. Active inventory is up a little bit from last year. And then the month supply in Lehigh is at 5.8. And last year was at 6.3. So we're looking good. I mean, Lehigh Acres is a great place to be. And Jade has a listing right now in Lehigh Acres. I can't help but bring it up to you. I don't have the sheet with me, all right? But I will actually try to call her and see if I could I'm not going to do that to her. I don't think that's a good idea. I was actually going to call her, and then I said, no, I'm not going to do that. But she's got a listing on Rushmore in Lehigh Acres, 33936. And we're going to hold it open this weekend. I would invite you to come out and see it. But ahead of time, go ahead and look it up on Realtor.com or message Jade or myself, and we'll get you the details. But it is a 2-1 with a converted garage. So the garage, kind of gives you that third bedroom. It's on a nice little lot on a canal, and it backs up to a gated community. So it's in a really nice spot. It's just off of Alabama and close to everything that's established and close to everything that's coming into town. I love this little area, and to be under $200,000 to own a home, when I just told you that the median sales price is $310,000. So to be under $200,000 to be able to own your first home, your retirement home, a rental property, to be able to do that is pretty special. And I know that a lot of people that would buy that home may be looking for, FHA financing, some kind of, help with closing costs and things like that. And everything is negotiable. So I would tell you to get in touch with Jade and ask her to set up a showing, because we've had showings this week. It started picking up, and it's going to go under contract. And then you're going to find, if you look online, there's not a lot under $200,000 that's a single family home in this area. Now, there are a couple, and they're absolute dogs. And I would tell you that the listing agents that have them should really look at the photos on them, really look at the description on them. They're absolute dogs. And so I know that this one on Rushmore is a sweetheart. It's a cupcake. I've been in it. I've held it open. I had a bird shit on my jacket in that house, and I know that property very well. We're going to hold it open. We're going to talk about it online. So look for posts about it. Rushmore Avenue, I believe, current list, $199.9. Real estate by Barber. That's Jade Varela. That's my girl. And she sells real estate, and I do title. And I have the opportunity to work with a lot of really great people, but she's my favorite. And we have a daughter together who just turned 3. So, hey, listen, thanks for joining us on this live stream. I'm not gonna hang with you too much longer, but I wanted to share an article with you from the National Association of Realtors. It's a little bit of a long one, but I want to read it to you. I think that you'll like this information. Before we go into it, let's just talk about generations. All right. If you were born from 99 to 2011, put in the chat you're Gen Z. If you were born from 1990 to 1998, you're a younger millennial. If you were born 1980 to 1989, you're an older millennial. If you were born 1965 to 1979, you're Gen X. If you were born in 1955 to 1964, you're a younger boomer. If you were born 1946 to 1954, you are an older boomer. If you were born 1925 to 1945, you are considered the silent generation. I tell you all of that because I'm getting ready to read you an article. The title, it's National Association of Realtors. Baby boomers remain largest share of home buyers as first-time buying falls to record low. Only about 1 in 5 buyers were first-time purchasers. All right, this just came out. I'm sharing this with you. This is news you can use. Here we go. Washington. Baby boomers remain the largest generational group of home buyers this year, while the share of first-time buyers fell to the lowest level on record, according to the 2026 Home Buyers and Sellers Generational Trends Report from the National Association of Realtors. The report examines the similarities and differences among recent home buyers and sellers across generations. Among all home buyers in the past year, the general breakdown was as follows. Gen Z was up from 3% last year to 4% this year. Millennials were down from 29% last year to 26% this year. Gen X was up from 24% last year to 25% this year. Baby boomers and silent generation were unchanged at 42% and 4% respectively. Now, first-time buyers made up just 21% of all home buyers, down from 24% in the previous survey, and the lowest share since NAR began collecting the data in 1981. That's 45 years ago. Among buyers in each generation, the share who were first-time purchasers was younger millennials were 60%, older millennials were 33%, Gen X was 21%, younger boomers 8%, older boomers 4%, silent generation 3%. And make no mistake about it, the silent generation is ultimately phasing out. We should expect those numbers would be low. The housing market remains sharply divided between homeowners, with equity and first-time buyers trying to break in, many of whom are younger millennials, said NAR Deputy Chief Economist Dr. Jessica Lautz. For many younger households, affordability challenges and limited inventory are still making homeownership difficult to achieve. Millennials continue to lose market share overall. However, older millennials are leveraging equity to become move-up buyers. These older millennials had the highest median household income of any generation at $132,700, bought the largest homes with a median of 2,100 square feet, and were far less likely to be first-time buyers than younger millennials. Older millennial buyers are now entering middle age, and with that comes a shift, Lautz said. This cohort is now the highest earning generation of home buyers, buys the largest homes, and is most likely to have children living with them. Those traits were once more commonly associated with Gen X buyers, who are now increasingly looking toward empty nesting and retirement. Multi-generational homes are declining in overall market share. Across all buyers, 14% purchased a multi-generational home, which was down from 17% last year, with top reasons including caring for aging parents, cost savings, and adult children moving back home. Among buyers in each generation, the share who purchased a multi-generational home was younger millennials were at 9%, older millennials at 14%, Gen X 19%, younger boomers 14%, older boomers 11%, and the silent generation at 16%. Now, among Gen Z home buyers, the youngest generation in the market, key findings include 35% of Gen Z buyers were single females, the highest share among all generations. 17% of Gen Z buyers were unmarried couples, the highest share among all generations. What stands out about Gen Z is how confidently they're beginning to define homeownership for themselves, Slout said. They may still be a small share of the market, but they're already challenging old assumptions about who buys a home and when. For many of these buyers, marriage and children are no longer the defining milestones before a home purchase. The driving force is simply the desire to own a home of their own. This is Gen Z. On the selling side, baby boomers also remain dominant, making up 55% of all home sellers. Across all generations, sellers typically stayed in their homes for 11 years before selling, while younger millennials sold after 5 years and older boomers typically sold after 15 years. Baby boomers are at a point in life when they have the flexibility to move, often with housing equity to help purchase their next home, Louts said. In earlier years, baby boomers, like millennials today, may have moved because of a job change or the need for a larger home. But today, many baby boomers are embracing choice in moving to be closer to friends and family, to downsize, or to retire and enjoy a work-free lifestyle. This is what I'm telling you. If you're working just to survive and keep your home, it's not as fun. Even as generational patterns differ across the market, buyers and sellers alike continue to rely heavily on real estate agents. I like this one. I think this is good news for my friends watching. Here we go. 88% of all buyers purchase their homes through an agent. Buyers continued to show strong confidence in their agents, with 91% saying they would use their real estate agent again or recommend them to others. This was especially strong among older boomers at 90% and the silent generation at 92%. Let's be realistic. That silent generation buyer is not going to use you again because they're most likely buying their last home. So it doesn't matter if they say they would use you again. And then the older boomers, who knows if they're going to use you again. It's still pretty nice, though, to see almost 9 out of 10 buyers are saying, I would use this agent again. So something happens after the closing with the follow-up with your customer that drives them into the arms of a competitor when it's time to do something. It could be senility, it could be dementia, whatever. But, it's something to think about, and we're going to go a little bit further with that. On the selling side, 91% of sellers worked with an agent, and homes typically sold for a median 99% of the final list price. Among sellers, older millennials were the most likely to use an agent at 92%. Younger millennial sellers were among the strongest performers on price, with 19% selling for 101 to 110% of their list price and 11% selling for more than 110% of list price. I'm going to challenge that narrative because that immediately makes me think that it's a less experienced, less astute seller who, just by generational, maybe allows their realtor to price it a little bit more aggressively. And I start asking, if you're selling for 110% of your list price, then you certainly didn't use precision pricing. And I would ask if that older millennial, younger millennial, I would ask if they might have left some money on the table there with a desire to get through the closing quickly. We talked a little bit about days on the market. Listen, if your home sells for full price in one day, you likely underpriced your home. Use the metrics, use the data, use the averages to know where you are. You don't need to sell it the first day unless you need to sell it the first day. Here's the methodology. NAR mailed a 120-question survey to 173,250 recent home buyers in July of 2025 using a random sample weighted to be representative of sales across geographic areas. Home buyers had to have purchased a primary residence between July of 24 and June of 25. The survey received 6,103 responses from primary residence buyers. After accounting for undeliverable questionnaires, the survey had an adjusted response rate of 3.5%. Data gathered in the report is based on primary residence homebuyers. According to the Realtors Confidence Index, 84% of homebuyers purchased as primary residences in 2024, accounting for 4,746,000 homes sold that year, new and existing. Using that calculation, the sample at the 95% confidence level has a confidence interval of 1.25%. Don't know what that means. Don't care. It means that they sent it to a lot of people, and they made sure that the data that I just read to you was good and accurate. It is. The market is white hot. And I'm in Southwest Florida, so I'm seeing a lot of action here. And I'm talking to friends that are in other states, and they're saying, well, it's not here yet. Weather's still got to turn, whatever. But guys, I'm on the live stream today. I'm coming to you from Lehigh Acres. We've got a beautiful office on Lee Boulevard. I'm going to put all of my contact information this way, right there. And if you're not already, give me a follow, give me a like, give me a share, give me a comment. Tell me who you are. Tell me where you're watching from. Make it worth my while, baby. But listen, if you're buying, selling, building, refinancing, hey, if you're doing a deal in Florida, tag in title Adam. I'm local and licensed. I'm here to help you, and I will help you. I'll take you to the closing table faster and with less stress. That's what we do here. I'm here every day in Lehigh Acres, and my number's on the screen, so feel free to call me anytime. Thanks for hanging with me on the live stream. We'll be back again soon. And I'm Title Adam in the house. And before I go, I said I was going to go. Before I go, let me share something with you. Because I put together a beat. Now, play you out, as I like to say. I put together a beat called Suet Cake that I really liked. You know, I'm always going to try to put something about the birds because that's what Jade and I like to do. But I did one called Suet Cake on SoundCloud. I'm going to play you out. Title, I'm in the house, baby.